You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
It's all about sharing, for me, sharing the inspiration, because so much is possible beyond what you ever get taught, you ever get told, you ever even consider.
Welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most feel better. And in today's episode, I have Stephen Baily, an amazing digital nomad. Now, not a lot of people know what a digital nomad is, or they heard about it in the early 2000s, when the internet was booming. But Stephen left the UK in 2007 and has been, scraping around the world as a writer and a jobber, shoestring traveler pretty much. And in 2013, he successfully launched a digital agency called The Fat Dogs, and he was content hopping every month. And then he launched Kate.com before the pandemic hit. And I'll let him explain what Kate.com is, but it's an amazing resource if you're looking to travel. So without further ado, let's jump in to the interview.
So Stephen, thank you so much for being on the show. How about you give a quick introduction for my audience, about 30 seconds, and then we'll just jump into the conversation.
Yeah, so my name's Stephen Baily. I left the UK long before Brexit in 2007. At the time, I didn't realize I wanted to be a digital entrepreneur. I scraped around the world as a writer, odd jobber, on a shoestring traveler. And then 2013, I managed to establish a successful digital agency, providing digital marketing services, and was able to travel in a lot more luxurious style. That came and went. There were some successes, some failures, and in 2019 I launched a new business, a travel platform called Catered.com, and so far that has been a more successful venture.
Yeah, I would get it. Like I learned it with podcasting. My first podcast, it was successful, but it was a lot of work. And my second podcast is just blowing up. Like this podcast is blowing up. So I get you're slowly every time reiterating into something new with your new business. So what is the new business, the travel business?
So Cater.com is a members travel club connecting travelers directly to local travel suppliers. So the idea is that a traveler can get a better trip by connecting directly to the person who will deliver the trip. Now, the last 14 years, because I've been traveling, I've been fortunate to travel to over 100 countries, make a lot of connections. And I always discovered that the trip is going to be better when the person on the ground, if I speak to them in advance. So whether I'm going to Tanzania or Canada or Brazil, if I get to speak to someone on the ground in advance, tell them this is what I like, this is what I want to do, I get an amazing trip. It's really creative, it's really unique. I do what I want to do. But it's hard to do that because we live in a world of travel agents, whether online or on the high street, and we're often one step removed from the person who can create our travel experience. So Cater.com is about connecting the travelers directly to the travel suppliers, because it just creates better travel.
Oh yeah, no. When I traveled over to Ireland and back in 2019, I actually talked with a couple of people, fellow podcasters, about, okay, where do I go? Who do I talk to? Like, I don't want to just do the, I'm going to go see the Blarney Stone because it's Blarney Stone. I'm going to go to Guinness Warehouse because it's the Guinness Warehouse. I'm going to do the big touristy things, but I want to see the city for what it is, So connecting with someone on the ground, like you're saying, is so important to a better trip. If you're not doing, you're not going to like a resort down south. Like if you're going to actually want to experience the country, you need to talk to locals. So I'm glad that you have this business. It's an amazing business to have.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's easy to go on TripAdvisor. Look, what are the top 10 things to do in Ireland, and then end up doing the same as everybody else. And why is everything so crowded? Well, it's because these are the mass tourism products. These are what everybody talks about. And actually, it's, as you say, it's great to talk to someone in advance and say, my interest is Celtic history. Where can you take me? My interest is Irish whiskey. Where can you take me? Or, tell me more about Guinness. And I want to go to where they're telling stories and playing music and we're drinking Guinness all night. But I want to feel that authenticity. And that's what I really wanted to create. We catered that authenticity to the experience, and something that you can't find, you can't book on TripAdvisor. It's not about how many you sell. It's about the quality of a single experience that is created just for you.
Yeah, it's that value. We're all seeking value, and for a while, like TripAdvisor and I'm forgetting their name, airport booker, travel advisors were our ground on the streets. But thanks to the internet and Facebook and all that, it's getting more and more crowded. But something like this, that I can talk directly to someone on the ground, like boots on the ground, that's even better, because the trip's going to be 100 times better, because this person's going to show you those little hidey holes that not all the travel agents know or all the booking sites know.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a travel agent will say, well, I'm a specialist. And okay, so what's your specialism? Well, I've been there 3 times. You think, well, is that really the specialist? Actually, the specialist is the person who lives there, the person who is doing that day in, day out, the person who knows Dublin like the back of their hand, not somebody who goes there every year. And the big challenge is not that I faced really, was not that travelers didn't want to do it. Everyone I would tell about the catered.com say, oh, brilliant idea, and this is great, let's do it. But the challenge has often been providing that security for the trip, because maybe Ireland, you trust to send your money to Ireland.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But what about if you go on safari in Tanzania? What about if you do something, an experience in Rio? Like, how is it secure for you? How can you trust I'm sending a few $1,000s for my week-long experience? How do you know the person's actually going to be there to pick you up? So that's been a big part of the platform, is really developing like a quality assurance and providing that trip protection. So if you pay, your trip is covered, and we can guarantee that it's going to happen. You're not just blindly trusting somebody that you found in England. We would say the yellow pages, but now it's the back of the internet, really.
Yeah, it's the new yellow pages, the back of the internet. How do I know that this Katie.com, if I give them my money, will literally not just take it and run and close down the next day? So yeah, that's amazing. And what's great about it is you can have that your podcast to back it up, because they can say, well, Stephen's been to all these places and he's running this business, and he seems to be doing fine since he left in 2007. So he's like, your story actually helps bring it a bit more credibility, so that there's a bit more value to it. But I get it, like getting the trust to those people that on the ground when you're not there.
Yeah, and I've experienced it myself. I remember doing a safari in Tanzania and absolutely wanting to do this safari with this guy, and then as soon as I had to send the money, I was like, I'm not so sure. And the same, I trekked to Everest Base Camp, and we were short on time, so that the trip had to be arranged in advance. It had to be these exact dates, and there were all these companies. I ended up booking with the first company in Nepal to offer payment by Visa and MasterCard. And it wasn't because I thought they were going to be better. It was just because I needed some protection to know that if I send this money, they're going to be there to pick me up.
Yeah. And that if they weren't, at least with Visa or MasterCard, you got that insurance. They'll at least refund you, and then they'll take care of all the headache of the groundwork that you don't have to. So yeah, that's wise too. Make sure they take Visa or MasterCard.
Yeah, and which I mean, 3 years ago, this was the only company that actually was able to do it online. And I think, as you said with the podcast, that's kind of fit well with it, because I've been traveling to these places and I just like to narrate, look, here's 10 minutes about a destination. It could be Tokyo, Tuscany. It could be a single experience, such as kayaking through New Zealand, or it could be about an entire country, maybe Tanzania. And the idea is just to give people inspiration. Like, there are all these wonderful places out there, and maybe it's not a great destination for you, but here, have a listen, get some inspiration. Did you like something there? If you did like it, then, explore further.
Oh yeah, no. And you saying that doing your podcast, it reminds me of a YouTube channel called Yes Theory. And they just released a video where one of their members did a northern tour of Iraq in Kurdistan, where it's still Iraq, but it's a full different country. And for everybody in the West, pretty much Iraq was like, oh my God, it's bombed, it's dangerous, there's ISIS, there's terrorists, there's all this. But then you see this video and you're seeing the beauty of the communities there. And it's like, well, now I want to go to Iraq.
Yeah. I mean, great country, great destination, Kurdistan. And that is the same all over the world. I think our knowledge of the world is hard coded into us through what we learn from around us. And, for a lot of countries, it's what happens on the news. And the news loves to talk down. Yeah, they love to talk down our own countries, never mind a foreign country. They love to show the superior, look how bad it is going on over there. We never hear about those stories of, it's so beautiful over there. The people are amazing over there. There are these incredible sites, incredible histories and cultures. We don't really hear that. And within travel, we started doing it with the idea of influencers, like Instagram. We started to have, look, here are some photos of what is great here. And then for me, that's also gone a little bit further the other way. That's become the TripAdvisor, because it's become, hey, look, here are the 10 places you have to take a photo in the world tomorrow. Rather than, these huge people who actually provide some depth, like you say, the people who go to Kurdistan, Iraqi Kurdistan, and create that video and say, look, this is the real story. There are no bombs dropping on me. It's a beautiful country. The people are welcoming. Look, most people are still going to say, yeah, but I'm not traveling to Iraqi Kurdistan. But there are some who are going to say, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. I want it on my bucket list. Maybe 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, I might make it there and explore that part of the world.
Oh, it is on my bucket list. Just watching it, I was like, okay, I want to try this. Because one, the experience of like going to a place that's considered hostile, but you're not seeing anybody mean. All these people are nice. They literally got a local to show them around, so that now you're getting like this amazing local experience, learning the history from a local, and you're not trying to do it on your own. Now, given Iraq, it probably would be wiser to have a local than just be, a normal white person there, because you stand out slightly. But if we're going to like a more modern, I don't want to say modern because I think everywhere is modern, but a place like New Zealand, where it's like, okay, it's a little safer if I stay in this area and go visit, because it's a touristy town. So having a local there, not always is beneficial, but you can travel by yourself. But having a local is always better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always essential, but it's always going to be better if you have a local showing me. I mean, if you come to my town and you don't know anything, I know exactly where you're going to end up, because it's the same place everybody ends up. But if I'm going to show you around, I'm going to show you to some places that otherwise you wouldn't have known of. And they're the same if I, came to your city, the same all over the world. And I think what's great about travel is that it's a two-way thing. We love to travel, but within us, we also love to host. We also love to host travelers and say, look, this is what I like here. You know, it's showing a bit of our own life, and we see this all over the world, like the example in Kurdistan. People very willing, very open. Yeah, I want to show you around. I want to show you that it's different to maybe what you've been told before.
Yeah, it's so much. There's so much history too, because I'm from Canada, so we're a young nation in the world. Like Canada is like 300 years old, not even 300 years old. It's like, it's a speck in the dust. Whereas other places like Kurdistan, Iraq, they have like Mesopotamia, you know, like they have all the history of life up into where I am now is there. It started out there, but we're forgetting that.
Yeah, like because they say in Iraqi Kurdistan, and I have visited there, they have like the oldest Neanderthal caves. Then they've got basically the oldest Christian sites, and Erbil is the world's oldest continuously inhabited citadel. 8,000 years. Like people have been living in this one citadel 8,000 years, which is crazy when you think of that. You know, Canada only a bit, but also the UK. It's not that old compared to this place.
It's like if you think about it, that like, so how I think about it, like Canada is a child, England is the parent, and like Mesopotamia, Middle East is our grandparents, because they have all this wonderful history that is yet to be explored.
Yeah, I mean, they're our ancestors, really. That's where we came from, and whether, and I think another thing I like about travel is that it teaches you to be humble about other cultures, and to be humble about, look, actually, a lot has gone on before we were here. And you really get that pretty much wherever you travel, whether it's New Zealand and meeting the Maori, whether it's coming to Canada, whether it's Brazil, whether it's anywhere in the world, you get a sense, actually, you know, I'm just a tiny little speck in this enormous planet, and I could travel for lifetimes and lifetimes, probably 8,000 years, and still never get everywhere. So for me, it really makes me feel humbled, and it definitely has made me feel a lot more open-minded, because when I left the UK in 2007, I wasn't a great traveler. I was like, can I drink 12 pints of the local beer every night and go around the world? Great. You know, I like to think that through travel has changed me, and now I have different interests and I do things differently because it's made me think about the world in a different way.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that, because when I traveled, it was like with my family at first. It was like going on family vacation, so not really exploring on my own. It's with my family, so my parents are keeping me safe. And then I started traveling a little bit across Canada and the US and getting to see there, but it's still my mindset that everybody thinks similar to how I think. Then I went to Ireland and England, and I was like, wow, you guys are way more friendlier than I thought. I know Canadians are nice, but Jesus, you guys, like, you really put it over the top. Like, just walking in, like, we met when I was in Ireland, in Dublin. I met a guy at the pub, which you're always at a pub apparently, and we just started chit-chatting. And funny enough, like 2 days later, we're walking down the street and he's honking at us from his car and waving at us. And I'm like, oh my God, no one does that. Like, what the hell? And because we were confused, like, who's honking at us? And then he's like waving at us, honking, like, hey. And I'm like, oh my God, it's him. And we ended up seeing him like 2 days later at the pub again. And it was just so crazy how, like, the world is awesome like that. When you travel around, you get to meet these amazing people that change the way you think.
Yeah, you create connections all the time. And, you know, serendipity, it's always when you least expect it, something incredible happens. You're like, I thought I was just going on a train overnight, and suddenly I've ended up in the back streets of some Indian city, tasting the best food I've ever tasted with, 50 new friends. It's, I mean, that's why I've never stopped doing it. And I mean, that's also part of, when I left, I wanted to find a way that would allow me to keep doing it. Because I'd been on trips before and I'd always went home and had this massive downer that, oh, I'm back here. And when I left, I was like, okay, this time I need to find a way that I don't need to go back. I can actually continue to experience this that has become my passion and what I really love.
I love that you were able to turn your passion into your business by helping others learn how amazing travel is by doing this membership site that you have. It's amazing how you were able to pivot that into your business.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, it's going pretty well, and it's all about sharing. For me, sharing the inspiration, because so much is possible beyond what you ever get taught, you ever get told, you ever even consider. And, to step a little bit past your comfort zone, to go a little bit past your boundary, this whole new world opens up. You're suddenly like, wow, this is how you guys do things here. I didn't know that. They say it different on the news. Or, wow, look, I've just discovered this culture that I didn't even know existed before I came to this country. Or I've discovered a food, a musical instrument, a way of celebrating life, all these things that actually when we sat at home, we don't get any of that other than maybe what we read on a forum or what we find on Wikipedia.
Yeah. No, okay, I have to ask, what one experience that you've had in your, God, you're like nearly 15 years, 13 years, 13, 14 years you've been traveling. What is one experience that you've had that you're like, this is amazing? Like, I'm pretty sure you have had dozens or millions, but one that really just like sticks in your mind that's like the best travel kind of event or serendipity event that happened to you.
I would say, and this is because it's stimulated a whole another set of experiences, I would say was the Trans-Siberian Railway. So taking the train from Moscow to Mongolia, a 5-day journey on the train. You can't get off the train, incredibly relaxed because you can't even think about anything. You're just on the train, and just going through across Siberia and everything changing. And, everyone on the train is meeting each other. I can't speak Russian, they can't speak English, but we're socializing because what else do you do? We're just here on a train and we're sharing a cabin. And it really changed me because this idea of like an expedition where you just give over yourself to, this is what we're doing. We're just on a train. And then the next one I did was, okay, we're just going to be on a horse. So being on a horse for 11 days. And the life is so simple. It's, for me, so liberating because there's nothing to think about. Wake up, have some food, get on the horse, go to sleep. Next day, what is there to think about? No, just keep riding. And then the same, I've done it with hiking trips, like I mentioned, to Everest. It's the same thing, just this liberation of completely freeing your mind from everything else, because you don't have to think about what you're doing tomorrow. You're doing the same as what you're doing today. You're just walking, you're just on the train, you're just riding that horse, you're just kayaking also, kayaking for 5 days. Tomorrow, what we're doing, the same, just kayaking.
And just waiting for the experiences that happen there. Oh my God.
Yeah, waiting for the experience. And, that it ends up being so relaxing because you have this complete mental
clarity,
cleansing. Yeah, it's this mental cleansing that when you come back, you think, or I found that after these trips, and I try and do at least one a year of these kind of expeditions, after it, I feel completely refreshed and my mind thinks about everything in a different way. It's like blank canvas kind of thing. So professionally, it's also really helped.
I'm so jealous of you. I can't wait to, I'm going to get to that. I can't wait. I'm going to have those experiences, those crazy adventures. I want to try the Trans-Siberia rail, because that just sounds amazing. And like, I know Russia gets a bad rap, but I know the people, it's the politicians that are bad, but the people are awesome because like, they're just like me and you, except they live in Russia.
Yeah, that is the thing. All over the world, like I think 95% of us are all the same. We've all got similar desires. We've all got similar feelings, different impressions, but similar ways of going about doing things. And I remember on this train, the first day I was with, so there were these Russian people in the carriage, and they got vodka out, and they were toasting, and it was really
Surprise, surprise, they got
surprise,
vodka out.
surprise. I mean, there's nothing like a good stereotype, and it was exactly as I'd pictured it before I went on. And then we drank it; it was delicious. And then what happens is the train stops at these Siberian towns in the middle of nowhere, really, usually, and it stops for 20, 30 minutes, maybe 3 times a day. And these women, they're called babushkas, they come to the platform and they start selling things. So they start selling boiled potatoes in a bag, warm, if you want to eat them. They're selling like pickled fish and also selling vodka. And I was like, okay, so I need to get some vodka because I want to repay what these people have given to me. And then I got the vodka, and then the people in my carriage got really annoyed at me, and they started shouting, and I was like, what's going on? I was just trying to give some vodka, and then we found someone to translate, and I actually bought distilled aviation fuel.
Were you trying to kill them or fly a plane? Understandable why they could be upset. Aviation gin is probably not aviation fuel is not the best thing to take with vodka. But okay, so now I know. Let the Russians buy the alcohol, and I just pay them.
Yeah. Don't there was a bit of a miscommunication in terms of buying it, and then later, but luckily we got there, and it was all good in the end.
I could just imagine how petrified you must have been, or worried that you've done something wrong, and you have these angry Russians yelling at you.
I'm like, I've got it here. Here is my.
It's the vodka I bought. I'm paying you back. What's going on? Because I thought they were mad at you because you're the guest in their country and they're supposed to take care of you. But no, you're just trying to kill them with aviation fuel.
Yeah, they thought I was poisoning them, but
I'm glad at least it got taken care of, and you found a translator to let you know. No, they don't want to die today or fly. They want to drink.
Yeah, I mean, you can always find a way, and communication barriers are always part of the fun of travel as well. Like finding a way around it, like finding a way to communicate. Look, this is what I want. Okay, and this is what I can offer, and then finding that kind of middle ground has part of travel and part of what you learn. I mean, that was the early years of my trip. So when I saw vodka on the train station platform, and I thought, okay, yeah, sounds, give me 3.
Apparently you're going to be flying a jet soon. Wow. That just sounds fun. Like, it just sounds entertaining, and like you said, it's world changing. It changes your world because you're getting these experiences. My God. And so, okay, we're going to get a bit into the less travel and more into the business side, because this is an entrepreneur podcast. You said you started your first successful digital agency. It's called The Fat Dogs.
Yeah.
Is that still going, or is it on the back burner running itself, or did you sell it?
Yeah, so that in the end just ran out of steam, to be honest. So I was trying to find ways to make a living as I was going, and this was especially 2007, 2008. So before this idea of digital nomads was really known, and this was a time when we didn't really have Wi-Fi on our phones. It was going to scraping by on internet cafes, and slowly I built up a client base. I was writing. So I got into travel writing, and slowly doing a little bit more writing and a little bit more writing until, okay, I've got a bit of a niche. I travel to lots of places. I write about them, and I earn some money to travel. And then it was like, okay, I need to take this further. So what if there are 3 of me? What if there are 5 of me? And then I don't need to do the writing. Like, I can continue the exploration. And that's how the Fat Dogs started, creating written content, travel marketing for clients around the world, mostly for online travel agents who had a big demand for it, especially 2013, 2014. And it develops pretty well, but I think what I really struggled with is the going from scale, finding scale and profitability. Like scale, not necessarily a challenge, but profitability within that scale, and still having that lifestyle that I wanted was the real challenge.
No, it probably would be because it's your first foray into the entrepreneur world. Obviously, it's figuring out all the bits and bobs without a guidepost, because I'm pretty sure you didn't have a blueprint on how to build it. You built it yourself. So you took all those lessons and you created Katie.com, which is probably maybe got hurt because of COVID. It did put a flux in a lot of travel, but have you seen a spike now that like the COVID vaccine has been coming out?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a spike in interest. Obviously, for travel businesses, it's not a great time, but I would say that it's actually been good for Catered because there's been a shift in the landscape. A lot of the, I would say, poorer tour operators, travel agents, those that operated on big scale, small margins, they're the ones that have really been struggling. And actually what we're saying is quality is the king. We should be looking at quality. So I think coming forward, there's going to be this demand for better quality travel because, hey, we haven't been able to do it for a year. So
yeah,
we best be doing something good. Like, I'm not going to do the same, like, top 10 that I always do. I'm not going to go back to the same destination. So I think that the type of travel that I'm operating is going to move more in that space. And the other reason I think it was a benefit is because it created a kind of stress-free environment that it didn't need to really aggressively go after sales from the start. So it wasn't like, okay, we have to try and sell something to prove something, and we have to do it now, and overinvest in marketing when the product and the service isn't ready. This time it's giving us that extra time to take it a bit slower than most startups would be able to do, and make sure, okay, everything is right. Make sure we're properly listening to all the feedback we get. Make sure we're iterating properly so that when we do invest, and when we have been invested in the marketing and bringing people to the platform, we're actually getting conversions and we're getting that interest. We're getting those trip inquiries.
That's great. So in essence, COVID has been more friendly towards your company than other companies because you have had that time to take a second and be like, I can't travel because COVID, so I'm going to take my time and build what needs to be built so that when I do, we can kick it into high gear and the stress test is already done.
Yeah, so it's getting it ready for, okay, now it's going to be open, and now this country is open, this market is open. Okay, we're ready to do that. We understand how much it costs to get a lead, how much it's costing us to get an inquiry. We have an understanding of when we scale it, we're going to be able to achieve this. And what I hadn't done the first time, because it was just built on the job, was having that solid foundation to then be in a position to scale. You know, when you create a business and you're just creating it as you go along, because it goes, and then you go from solopreneur to entrepreneur and you start hiring people, there has to be solid foundations. Without solid foundations, it's easy for things to start unraveling. And that's what I found with the marketing agency, because it was built on sands. So, yeah. You know, to take the biblical
term
narrative, yeah, you know, it was built on this idea that it can work. Okay, so just keep going, and then, okay, what happens when something hits? What happens when something doesn't go to plan? where do you go now? How do you pivot? What do you do when suddenly you've got this team of writers and no work, and now you're working way more for less money?
Yeah, no, it's that's true. But those lessons you learned help build a more solid foundation now, because you know those are the pitfalls. Those are where you're going to fall in. And plus, because you already know digital marketing, you can bring that digital marketing ability to market your new company. So you're getting a 2-for-1 deal from your previous experience.
Yeah, I mean, we're always learning, aren't we? Everything we're doing. And I think that's the great thing about the entrepreneur's journey, really. And I don't think anyone should kick themselves if something fails, because, you know, if you went for it and you had a solid go at it and you put the energy in, you know, what was really lost? Maybe you lost some money, maybe it didn't work out and you have to start again, but that learning is invaluable. You're not going to learn that at college. You're not going to learn that. You're not going to learn that on an online course. You're going to learn it by doing it and making expensive mistakes, doing things that you will never do again. But that's how you really understand, look, this is what's important. This is what I need to do. And I think this is what I'm good at. Because I think it's easy to end up chasing, I want to do this because it sounds cool, but, you know, are you any good at that? Are you actually good at taking, you know, I thought for a while when with Fat Dogs, I also wanted to do video content. And I started doing it. And after a year, I was like, you know what, I'm bad at making videos. Like, I'm not good at editing it. It takes me so much time. I can't be bothered taking the equipment around. It sounds cool, great, but I'm not good at it. Yeah, I can't do it. So, like, let's cut it loose and focus on really developing what I am strong at and those strengths.
No, I fully agree with you, because I used to do everything for my first podcast, the editing, the show notes, everything. I was handling everything, and I was like, I hate all of this. And I didn't have because it wasn't generating money, I couldn't hire anybody to take care of it. Now with this new show, I easily just go to my friend who does digital content creation, Photoshop and all that, and he loves doing that. I'm like, look, here's the deal. I'll produce your podcast for free if you do my social media stuff, like the images and all that, for free. And he's like, sure. So literally, he sends me his stuff. I edit his podcast. I do that, and he handles my digital marketing stuff. So it's like, it's a fair trade. He's getting value, I'm getting value, and his stuff is way better than what I could do, and he does it in half the time.
Yeah, and that's the same way in terms of how I've developed the team. So 100% remote business. I mean, I've always been remote. I'm fully supportive of remote business. I think it's a more effective way of working. And, you know, finding specialists to do different jobs and for them to take on those roles. So actually, I can just oversee. I can be the face of the brand. I can be the voice of the brand. But I have other people doing what they're great at, whether that is B2C sales, whether that is managing the social media, whether that is, you know, also somebody editing my podcast, because how am I going to edit a podcast? Like,
I have the lazy way of editing a podcast. When I first started, that I was like, boom, 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 done. We're done. We're good. Let's put it out there so I can concentrate on growing my business. Now I have a professional editor who handles my editing. So he makes my stuff sound fantastic, where I am like, damn, I really was shit at editing. You know, so yeah, I understand building that team, slow and steady building the team is the best way about, because you're helping everybody out.
Yeah, and having a team of diverse personalities, diverse skills, I think, again, that was a mistake that I've learned from having a team of people quite similar to me, who I thought I could trust to do a good job. And, you know, they could, but actually our niche became so small because all the people were similar to me, and actually they were doing the work that I could do. And now really thinking it's much better to have this very diverse team with different ideas, who speak different languages, who are on different time zones, who are going to approach everything from their own angle. and give me something to think about rather than me just saying, here's the work, deliver it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the greatest things you said. Well, you said a lot of great things, but having that diversity in your workforce, it pays dividends for you because it creates new ideas that you may not have had. You're cross-pollinating these ideas from different people. Because I've used to edit videos. I learned from editing videos, it's easier to have a template that just you can stick in and it's easy to like click, 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 it's done if you're by yourself. And then you take that knowledge and you go put it over here. So I was watching my friend because instead of just being separate, we stream to each other. So we're on a Zoom call and we're just chatting the whole time. So one, it makes the work go by faster, but also I see what he's doing. I'm like, I can try that over here. And so it's able to increase my productivity over here because it shortens the time it takes me to edit a podcast or edit copy or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I don't know what, because the advice I always read was different. Like, when you're an entrepreneur and you're hiring people, some of the advice is find someone who can do like 70% of what you can do, and then you'll find somebody great. And then I've actually found the opposite. I've found it better to find somebody who can only do maybe 10% of what I can do, but can do another 60, 70% that I just have no idea about. I don't have the time to learn. I don't have the expertise. I don't have the interest. And I don't have the passion. Like, if I can just continue doing what I'm good at, what I'm passionate about, and leave everyone else to do what they're good at, what they're passionate about, the end result has been a lot more fruitful. Like, we've developed a lot more in 18 months than what I'd done in 5 years previously.
No, it's because, pardon me, building on that, it's as long as they have the interest in the travel world, that's the 10% that you need, whether they're videographers, copywriters, graphic designers, if they're all passionate about what you're passionate about, but they have their expertise is somewhere else, that just makes your job 100% easier right there. Because they like travel, good. We all like travel, but you're the digital editor, you're this, you're that. So it makes you do what you love, which is travel or, find that management team.
Yeah, and I think it's key, as you say, they need to buy into what you're doing, what you're aiming to do. They need to buy into that, to the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Why they have to, buy into Simon Sinek's why. Why are we here as a business? But the rest is, they don't need to buy into necessarily who you are or want to be or do the same things. Yeah, of who you are. Not at all. I found it's much better when they are people who have their own journey, have their own path, and have their own way. I mean, we all travel different. So I love working with people who say, actually, when I travel, I go to destinations, spend a lot of time there, and I go really deep into the history. Like, I have the person who does our content, she's massive on the history of these destinations, loves to spend a long time in one place. I'm the opposite. I like to move quickly, get a feel for it, do a couple of experiences, and then move on, because I really want to go to as many places as I can within the time that I have. So completely different travel styles, but that same underlying passion for discovery and traveling different.
Yeah, you want to discover the thing, the country you visit, the town you visit, but you don't want to spend so much time there that you're like, but there's other places I can visit. You want to get to know the area, friendly area. This is cool. Next time I come back, I'm going to check out that. But right now I'm off to, this new adventure I'm going to.
Yeah, and that was coming back to how catered.com really started, because I was finding, look, there's so many places, and even after 12 years, there's still millions more to come. The world is endless. It's incredible, the diversity. And I was getting a bit frustrated that the first 2 days, 3 days in every destination, I'm not necessarily wasting my time, but I'm not getting much out of it because I don't know what to do other than what the guidebook is telling me. And then if I've only got a week here, I don't want to be wasting half the time. So it was really moving towards, look, every time I get to a destination, I want to have talked to someone from there before I get there. So I know from the minute I arrive, I've got a great idea of where I'm going to dine that first night, because I've had already an understanding of what the local food is, and I've got a great restaurant recommendation. And then it was really like, wow, by doing it this way, not only am I getting more for my time, I'm able to travel further and I'm getting a way better experience. So can I make this a way of travel for other people?
And yes, you can, because just listening to you, I'm like, I'm going to be signing up for Kate. Okay, that's simple as that, because that's what I want. I want to meet people, because I love talking to people. That's why I have a podcast. But I love learning more about a place from the actual individuals, because I know how much history my city has. And yeah, you can read a book on it, but to experience it with a local is way better than just showing up and going to the touristy places. And so, yeah, Kate is like, it's a freaking genius idea. And I look at it like this way: if you can find 7 people that would agree with you that it's a great idea, then you get 7 billion people, because everybody is generally one person there's 7 billion people. You can find 7 people that like it. You know, there's at least 1 billion people out there that will like your idea. That's how I look at it. And
yeah, I mean, people have been liking it so far, so really hopeful that when the restrictions really end, I think there will be some recovery for travel this year. It not all over the world, and certainly not all segments. And then moving towards the following year, I think is really going to be a bumper year for travel, because people, as I said before, people have had time to stop and think and say, where do I actually want to travel? Like, why do I go on vacation? What is inspiring me when I leave home? And it's giving people time to think, okay, this is what I really want to do. I want to do something that's on my bucket list, not do something because it's a cheap vacation and there's a deal on the flights. Like, I actually want to do something that's gonna change who I am.
For my buck.
It's going to influence me in a positive way.
Oh yeah, no, it's how I want to travel. I want a value travel. Like, if I'm spending 5Gs traveling, I don't want to just go to a sunny destination that everybody has. I want my own unique adventure that's different, so that when I go back and be like, I did this, and my friends would be like, that's insane. How much did you pay? And then it's like, that's how much I paid. It's not like, oh, you went to Cuba, you went to a sunny resort, congratulations. Everybody's seen those pictures of the pristine beaches and that, so it's not as fun. But if I say, yeah, I went to Cuba, but I stayed at some local's house, so I had the Cuban food and all this, and it was amazing, it'll be more enjoyable, because they see the value of going there.
Yeah, and you really start creating that curiosity in other people, and they start thinking, maybe we won't go to Cuba this year. Maybe we'll go somewhere else, or we'll go to Cuba. We won't stay in the all-inclusive resort and not leave. We'll go to Havana, or we'll go to the tobacco plantations, or we'll go learn about rum and go tasting rum with a Cuban. Those kind of things, that because we are insatiably curious as people. And as soon as somebody gives us an idea and we like it, we have the ability to run with it. Mm-hmm. And when people come to me and say, I've done this, like, I'm not usually jealous. I'm just like, okay, I'm writing it down. Like,
this is what I'm going to do next time I'm there. You had fun on that. That's on my bucket list now. Yeah. Like for me, I'm like, okay, I've kissed a Blarney Stone. Other people haven't kissed a Blarney Stone. They're like, okay, that's cool. But it's like, one of the benefits is I went to this off the beaten path pub when I was in Ireland, thanks to my friends, and I had this amazing experience. I talked with a whole bunch of people. What was really weird was we were in this pub, and there were, at the same time, unfortunately, I can't remember, I think there were Romanians. We're having a Romanian Day celebration in this Irish pub that, funny enough, used to be a Romanian pub before it got transitioned to an Irish pub. So you're learning all this crazy stuff, and you're meeting and you're talking, you're having fun with people. And I was like, this is travel. Like, screw staying in a hotel, 5-star hotel. I like getting down and dirty into the community and learning and being a local and being like having fun, because these are experiences no one else is going to have.
Yeah, and it's amazing that all the things you might have on your bucket list, all these ideas of what I'm going to do. Often our favorite travel memories are the things we never expected to happen. Like the pub we never even knew existed before we got to Ireland. You probably didn't even know that pub existed the morning that you went to that pub. You just ended up here, and then something incredible that happened, and that becomes the memory, more so than doing the tour that's at the top of TripAdvisor, or doing the things on the top 10 list because you're supposed to do those things.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do in a city. Like when people come to Montreal, I'm like, okay, this is, you got to do 2 things, and then they're touristy things, but you have to do them because it's so iconic. It's Montreal. Like you have to eat smoked meat at Swartz's. Even Montrealers go, that's an iconic thing to do. You have to at least try it once in your life. But then the other thing is you have to go on top of Mount Royal and see the city, because there's a law in Montreal that no building can be taller than our mountain. So you have all these different sized buildings, but you have this clear view, like you literally can see to the Appalachian region, like, or the mountains and that. And so it's amazing. You see all the city laid out in front of you, but you have this beautiful vista in front of you and the beautiful pictures. So like, I really like, those are 2 places. They're touristy, but you need to see it because you get this new view on Montreal.
Yeah, and I think all over the world there are those great experiences, and I think it's good that people follow their bucket list. So, if you've always wanted to go to the Eiffel Tower, don't go to Paris and not go to the Eiffel Tower because it's cute. Just, you have to do these things that you always wanted to do, and these iconic experiences, they also are great. The same as kissing the Blarney Stone.
Yeah.
You're in Ireland and you want the gift of the gab, so what else are you going to do?
Right? You got to follow the legend. Yeah, I'm a podcaster. I have to get more gab in me, If I didn't have it, it would be the end of the world. But yes, I'm so looking forward to traveling again once everything opens up, because there's so many, like, last year was supposed to be my like multiple destination travel trip in Europe, but something happened, COVID happened, so I lost out. But that means that next year or later this year, when it opens up, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing to travel. It's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, so exciting, so fresh. I mean, and I think this last year has taught us that travel really is a privilege. Mm-hmm. Like we got so used to being able to go wherever we wanted to go. We just flash our passport and pay the money for the flight and we're there. And this last year we've realized actually it's quite a privilege to be able to do that. Like it's only in the last 20 odd years that people like us have been able to do it and just say, I'll travel to the other side of the world. I mean, in the 80s, you'd be saving for 10 years to get that
it's like
plane ticket. And in the 50s, I mean, you maybe didn't leave your state.
Yeah. And just going back, like thinking about like travel before the plane was around, it was like a 10-day trip on a boat to go from like England to Canada. So even then, like you land there and then you're like, okay, this is nice. Okay, we're going back now.
Yeah.
Vacation's over.
3-week trip and it's just going there and back.
Yeah. So Stephen, we're coming up to the end of the episode. I'm going to give you this time to talk about Katie, talk about where your podcast, where we can listen to you, where we can find you on the interweb, so that if anybody who is interested to join your site and that, or listen to more of your experiences on your podcast, they have a chance. So I'm just going to step away for a second, give you the full screen here. There you go. And it's all yours, sir.
So K2.com is members travel club connecting travelers directly to local travel suppliers. Just go to K2.com, you'll find out a lot more. It's KATED.com. You'll find over 2,500 travel experiences for your bucket list. You can save your favorites using the heart. You can start creating your bucket list on there. and you can connect directly to the local travel suppliers. If you want to hear more inspiration from me from the 100 plus countries I've visited, then check out the daily Catered Travel podcast. It's a short form podcast, so usually about 10 minutes, designed to be that you can listen to it while brewing up a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. But each day, just giving you a new destination, a new idea, something different from this incredible planet that we live on. Something different that perhaps you'll be able to do in the coming years and perhaps will be on your bucket list.
Oh my God. I love it. I love those short form podcasts sometimes. Like, I love the long form interview podcasts, but listening to, like, I want to learn about this country that Stephen's been to, boom, and you get this whole experience, and it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. It's amazing. I can't wait to start listening to more and more episodes. Stephen, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show. His show notes will be in the show notes. You'll find all the links. That was easier said than done.
Gift of the gab.
Yeah, gift of the gab. It just fallen out of my mouth now. But yes, all his links will be in the show notes down below. Again, if you're going to travel, might as well get it from locals. Check out Katie.com because he's been to 100 countries. I think he knows the locations pretty well by now. Again, thank you for being on the show. Thank you to my listeners. Remember to invest in yourself. I'm Phil Better.
Guys, I just enjoyed so much talking with Stephen about everything that he's gone through. He pretty much took the life that everybody wanted or dreamed of being free and traveling, all this. So I would really suggest, one, you check out Kate.com, you check out his Facebook page, it's linked in the show notes down below, but also check out his podcast because it is amazing. I enjoy it. I listen to it on my walks. So that's really all I have for you guys. This is an amazing episode. On the next episode, we have the amazing Jennifer Cobbs, who is a former NFL cheerleader turned Parkinson advocate, and the people that she's worked with is amazing. So I'm going to just tease that with you. If you like the episode, make sure you share it with a friend. Let them know about this amazing interview that you heard, an amazing podcast in Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, Phil Better. I thank you so much. And remember, folks, invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.